Om Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and peaceful. Phoenix here. I'm going to give it a few minutes. Oh, you like the trailer. I'm glad you got to see it. I checked to see. I couldn't see it from my end. I just put that together yesterday. Was having some fun with that one. It's nice to have a little bit of elevator music, at least my version of it, while you wait. Let's get a few announcements out of the way before we get in. I'll let a few more people sort of filter through here. So Mexi, if you want to join my Discord, all you got to do is sign up using my referral link and make a deposit, and you get to see all my trades. Pretty fair trade-off, if you ask me. Of course, I benefit from some of the fees that would otherwise go to the exchange, but they're my favorite exchange. So Keystone Hardware Wallet, this is a great little wallet. I love it personally, and you can save 35% off if you use the discount code DeFi Magic. It's a great wallet, honestly, way better than a ledger in my humble opinion. So I just love the QR codes. It's really the future of crypto. What else? My course, the price is actually changing. It was $36 a week ago, $72 yesterday. People are still buying the course. It's going to keep going up. The price of the course is going to keep going up. I'm giving bear market discounts while the price is low. It should be worth 10 times what it is right now, to be perfectly honest with you. So take advantage. And those of you that are paying attention right now, just learn as much as you possibly can. That's what I'm doing. I'm investing thousands of dollars in different courses just to get new perspectives. And I think that even if even if it puts you into debt temporarily to buy a course or pay for a mentor or whatever it is, that debt is going to pay itself off with all the skills that you acquire as a trader. So, um, yeah, that's my spiel about the courses. I honestly put more time in that course than I did in anything else, including the book that I wrote, Smart Money's Crypto Handbook. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, actually, I've put in more time putting together those courses than the book. So, and it definitely is much more refined knowledge for those of you that want to go deeper into technical analysis and really learn my methods, which I've of course adopted from many other traders. So, let's take a look now and see what's going on. I actually put the title in for this before I knew what was going to happen yesterday. So, sort of a little bit of anticipation there. And I'm not 100% bearish right now, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why. But we've seen a pullback in the stock market today. ES is down 1.5%, but still in this range here. And if we drop down the lower time frames, you can see what happened. Fell back, deviation above, got back inside, retest, failed retest, likely coming back down to the bottom of this range. But it could find support here. Okay, we don't know yet. The Dixie, meanwhile, is, it's going up pretty good today. It's up 0.5%. Not too strong, but it's strong enough to be potentially finding support here. Okay, so macro view, still bearish, but in the short term, I'm not convinced that this pump is over. And I actually have several long positions open, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB right now. And I was a little bit aggressive on my entries, you could say. I tend to do that. That's something that I need to journal in my trade journal because I tend to jump in before full confirmation, and it has got me into trouble in the past. But I'm going to show you what I saw here for Bitcoin. So starting on the daily, you could say, okay, we saw the breakdown from this major range here, 18K-ish, dropped down, found a new low, 15.5, and then now it's just sort of meandering along here. And you could say, okay, well, we had another retest the very next day. I'm a little bit cautious to call this the retest, the official retest, just because it happened so quickly. And so we had the come down after that, and it's been slowly but steadily obeying this. You could actually draw a trend line here. We're below it, right? So macro view is bearish, but there is reason to believe that we may see more short-term relief for Bitcoin and hence the alts as well. So I believe that if we take a look down on the 1H here, you can see some levels that I've drawn here. So you might want to screenshot this, or maybe just if you already have these levels, this is a weekly level here, last week's high. We're sort of in the middle. Let's see. I'm wondering if this falls in the middle of this range here. Yep, we're close to the middle here. The mid range of this larger weekly range is about 16,357, which just showed us some resistance here on the way back up again. Now, I actually went short earlier today, had to cut them early because of this candle here on the hourly. And actually, this was backed up by a whole lot of volume and delta, about 145 million delta, which is for those of you that don't follow this, those are long positions that are opening up. And it just came through sort of out of nowhere. And this wick, this is a swing fail pattern, because if you take this low here, so they came down, took out this low, and then brought it back up, and then quickly came back down and took out the next low here. So this right here was the sign for me to go long, because not only that, but it wicked. So strong rejection wick, very strong move up from there, and of course pushed all the way up to almost 16,400 in that hourly candle. Now it's been sort of pushing back down and is consolidating. So it looks like it could go either way, right? But again, if you look at the cumulative delta and you look at this activity here and this failed swing fail pattern, I always get that mixed up, then you'll notice, okay, so we do have a demand zone here. This previous resistance potentially flipping into support here, okay? We did see a big, strong move down here. So bears have a little bit of momentum moving into this, but it seemed to have come to a standstill at around 16K. So now this did retest this lower level here, this range, lower level of the range, and then failed. So this could be a short trigger for some, but for me, again, take a look at this wick, the SFP and the demand zone. I would say that bulls have more strength right now. So if it comes back up, let's say that we get back inside here, it's likely headed at least to 16.6, okay? And then from there, we have to reevaluate. I would say 16.8 is, I think it's the mid of a larger range here. If we take this weekly range here, let's take a look at that. I think it's 16,800-ish. Yep, 16,890 would be the mid of this larger range here. So I'd be looking for targets for my current long. I'd be looking for targets up. First target up 16.6, maybe 16,850, and see if it can push up from there to last week's high, 17K. But this could be the ultimate fake out, because a lot of people went short here, including myself momentarily, not with Bitcoin, but with others, and had to quickly pivot and took a scratch there. But very tricky price action. Is this an uptrend? Is this a downtrend? Are we ranging? We're basically ranging, right? We're in this larger range, and it looks to be trying to find support. And again, I'm paying very close attention to very long wicks in demand zones that just penetrate beneath. This is a sign here. This SFP is a sign here. So you have to look for the most subtle signs. And I got scared out of half my position about an hour ago, and I should have stayed in it because I got a really good entry on Bitcoin. Of course, hindsight's 2020. I still have half of that position open, so we'll see what happens. But I am still positioned long, and it is a premature long entry. A conservative long entry would be a break back above and some strength here. I have a little bit of a cough today. I've been feeling a little bit not like sickish as far as like congestion, but just weak and tired and not sure why. So I'm gonna do some cleansing here, maybe some fasting today. But it's been kind of that nagging thing it's caused some brain fog for me. I don't know if it's from COVID back when I had it or what, but A lot of people have been feeling that lately. I don't know if you guys are feeling it at all, but it's sort of, we had a quick switch in the weather here, and we had sort of a cold snap, and that sort of brings things on. But here I am, still showing up, still trading, and staying as sharp as I can. So with Ethereum, hi Adam, we're going to take a look and see. Guard your privacy. YouTube's giving me notifications as I go here. Okay, so with Ethereum, I still think, again, it's following a similar pattern. Okay, we came down. This, technically, it's one of several demand zones. It's one of three. 1, 2, 3. And of course, there's always room for more downside. But again, not one but two wicks here, came down to this level here, found some support, actually didn't come all the way down, and now it's coming back above here and retesting this level. We're not, I mean, this is a much larger range for Ethereum, but Ethereum wasn't a very strong uptrend, but now this is evidence of a lower low here, okay, compared to this here. So not super bullish on Ethereum, but I'm still long, okay, because I feel like we should at least get somewhat of a bounce here. And if it does bounce, it's probably going to come up and fill some of this inefficiency here. It might not do it very quickly, but I'd be looking for take profit levels at around, let's see, what are we looking at here? I think around 1200 would be the first take profit, and then from there moving up. If it can get some momentum and continue its upward trajectory, then that changes everything. Now, the thing about Ethereum that's really curious to me is that I've been watching this chart very closely, this ETH BTC, and it does appear to be breaking this diagonal trend line, and it just retested it, as a matter of fact, and retested a previous swing high, okay, or swing low, I should say. This was a swing low. This was the diagonal trend line, okay? It's finding some support and may lift off once again. So Ethereum is stronger. That's why I initially had a much larger position with my long with Ethereum. So that's a chart to watch, definitely, the ETH BTC, because this is a much larger range also, and it looks like it wants to head back up to this monthly level, okay? So Ethereum could, it is showing strength relative to Bitcoin, especially these last couple of days, and I think it will continue to, if Bitcoin can stay above 16,200, which right now it is. We'll see what the stock, actually, yeah, we just had the close in the stock market, so that's not going to give us much momentum here. It's going to have to do it on its own. For BNB, there's a lot of FUD circulating right now, and I just, one way to tell, it's kind of, you become desensitized to it after a while. I was checking my feed this morning, TradingView, and you notice when you pull up a chart, like for Bitcoin, it will give you all the news on the app, and the news is just horrendous. There's BlockFi, there's more recession fears, and it's coming from the major media outlets, and that's when the FUD is at the absolute maximum, and therefore they're trying to trick us. And so either the price is going to get driven down very quickly here, or we're going to see a big strong bounce. But I'm more in favor of a bounce here, at least temporarily. So BNB has not been the easiest to trade, although here we are in this range here, okay? And it looks like, why did I long this? I probably shouldn't have longed this. I'm long right now, and I'm long from like 296. I long this because of what Bitcoin and Ethereum were doing. Now, if they can continue their momentum, BNB most closely tracks Bitcoin as far as what I've seen. Of course, it's not a perfect correlation, but it's more closely tracking Bitcoin than Ethereum. And I'm not sure what the reason is for that, but it is what it is. So, I mean, a conservative entry here for a long would be back inside this channel with some strength, and then looking to take it maybe up to the top here at around 315, 316. That would be conservative. We did see this big strong move here, this is something to be of concern, because if it loses support here, then we're definitely headed down. Okay, and I'd be looking to target this zone here. I'd be looking around 273. That's why I don't use that tool, because I can't, it's not nice and neat like the other tools. I don't know how some people are able to draw with such precision. I'm not very good at it. I need to enhance that skill. So BNB cautiously long, but probably a little bit premature in my entry here, and may actually cut that position if we don't see some strength here. So Dogecoin has been quite the anomaly the last few days, and Dogecoin has broken a clean break above this range here, and then we saw a double top, and this turned into a deviation, but now it didn't give us a strong breakdown. It was starting to break down and then reverse the other way, and now it could be finding support. I'm not really wanting to long Dogecoin. I wouldn't short it here. If Dogecoin comes back down and then maybe retest again, or maybe we just see a strong momentum bearish candle, engulfing candle, that could be a trigger depending on what Ethereum is doing. If Ethereum loses support here, then it's no holds barred for the alts. A lot of the alts are going to just probably tank from here because they've seen very strong moves. Dogecoin is definitely at the end, looks to be at the end. 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, 5 waves. Okay, so we're going to probably have an ABC correction here. So here, maybe it comes all the way back up to here. I don't think that it will, but maybe it comes back up and then it starts to really make its way down. But Dogecoin is actually, it's been stronger than all of the others, and it is still very much in an uptrend. It hasn't put in a lower low yet. Okay, so that's in its favor. So I wouldn't short this. I also wouldn't long this just because of the extension of this move here that we've seen so far, and because of where it is. It's just above this range. I'm more expecting it to eventually break back down and head all the way back down to this weekly level here at some point. Okay, it might not happen right away, but it's been definitely caught me off guard here. I shorted Dogecoin here after this breakdown, broke down from the range high, and then did a nice quick reversal, stopped me out somewhere up here. I was sort of in disbelief when this happened, but that's the way it goes with some of these coins right now. Solana is one that I've been paying attention to. It's nice when you have these nice clean ranges, because then if you see how does it interact at these levels, if we see weakness, then we could short it down. If we see strength, then you can long it and actually higher reward with that one, because, well, it depends, right? So we can long it all the way back up to here, see how it does here, and then always re-enter if it shows strength and continues higher. I was expecting Solana to really push up a lot higher here, at least try to push up to maybe 16, 17. But again, that just depends on what Ethereum does. If Ethereum pushes to 12, 13, then I definitely think Solana could come back strong. But Solana really dumped yesterday. I was actually trying to get in a short right up here, and within like 3 minutes, it was down here. I couldn't believe it. It was just, it's one of those candles where you just watch it just drop and drop and drop. And so at that point, I was just, no thanks, not going to bother with that one. Hi, Eric. How you doing? Not a whole lot of people in here today. That's okay. I'm sure some of you will watch this later. I don't really care. I'm just showing up because that's what you do. That's what you do in these times. So we've done Dogecoin, Solana, we've done BNB, we've done Ethereum, Bitcoin, ETH, BTC. I have arranged my charts so that the top, oh, this was a short that I quickly flipped. You see, I got in at the exact wrong time for that. I'm glad that I got out of that. You know, some days you just get chopped up and it doesn't feel good. I've been getting chopped up a little bit lately, giving back some of my profits from the last month, but I'll make it back. Adam, I don't have a clear trade. I don't have a clear read on this, clear enough to want to yeah, it's just choppy. I wouldn't, I don't really want to trade this right now. It's, it's not something that is standing out to me. I don't usually trade XRP. It just depends. Sometimes I won't look at a chart for weeks or months, and then all of a sudden I'll see something looks that looks appealing to me. But XRP, I was trading it over here, but then it started to just, yeah, just started to oscillate a lot, and I don't see any setups here that I'm, yeah, I don't like this. I just don't like it. It makes me uneasy to look at it. I was actually looking at this one, Aptos, and this trade actually would have played out pretty nicely here. That was a short position that I was looking at. But Aptos has been in a fairly clean range, and you can see that it broke this diagonal, and this is actually, I believe the middle of this is the mid-range of these weekly levels here. So very clean in that regard. Broke out. The problem with some of these alts is that when they break out, they move so fast that you don't really have time to get in on a retest. You have to be definitely on the lower time frames, and then sometimes it's a complete fake out like we saw here, this really big wick here. So be careful with alts right now. I know that for me it hasn't been easy. If it's not easy for me, it's not going to be easy for most traders, but a lot of traders appeal to, they're drawn in by the quick moves. And so here we saw, I think I shorted it up here. I managed to stay in this trade. My stop was above here, came all the way back down, and then came retests. I think I got out of this trade just because I needed the liquidity, or I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And then it did end up coming back down to the range. So most likely coming back down to this level here. Let's see what Litecoin is doing. Litecoin's usually the canary in the coal mine with the altcoins. So Litecoin tends to pump first, and then the other alts follow suit. So Litecoin definitely did see a very strong pump here, and now we're in this range here. I'm going to see, I drew this a while back. Okay, yeah, so it's a weekly. It's above this weekly level here. But that's a very, yeah, that wick is very concerning to me. And then you see this, there's definitely some downward momentum here. A lot of indecision with Litecoin. I mean, if it shows some strength and we can clear, if we see some momentum at this level, then it's a potential long. If Ethereum, I would wait for Ethereum first before I long Litecoin back up to this level up here. Probably first take profit somewhere around 78. Yeah, I want to see what Ethereum is going to do first, but this is a potential deviation from this range. So maybe a good place to long if it shows some strength here. Otherwise, shorting it down to maybe 67.37. And did we look at Matic yet? I don't think we looked at Matic yet. Matic, again, similar to Solana in that we do have a sort of clean range here, and this is the mid between these two monthly levels, okay, which goes way back here, okay? So we are in the bottom of this range. I think Matic overall just appears to be losing steam. So I'm hesitant to long this. And especially when you watch these charts over time, you'll notice like when the rest of the market is pumping, how is Matic doing? Like, so like when we had that 1 hourly candle, Matic it held up fairly well, but overall Matic has been pretty sluggish. I'm not really wanting to long this. I would be more on the short side, but I wouldn't be doing it from here. Okay, so if it comes back up, retest this range boundary here, and then shows weakness, then I would short it. If it wants to just drop from here, that's fine. I'll just let it drop from here. I think I'm a little bit worn out trading Matic, to be honest with you. And sometimes that's just the way it goes. You'll cycle through these alts and you get to the point where you just get tired of it. So on to the next one. Link is breaking out. I don't know why. It's up 5% today. That's interesting. And you see where it found support. Link is breaking out. And this was actually a long that I took down here, but I'm not in it anymore. I should have stayed in it. Targets to the upside was 765. And then this was a hopeful 947, this quarterly level. But if we look on the daily, Link actually has been showing relative strength compared to the rest of the market and found support here at this level. Okay. Previous support. And now it's pushing up very strong. I don't know if it's some fundamental, some news event or something like that, but Link is definitely breaking out. I would feel more comfortable about this if Bitcoin and Ethereum were also sort of rallying at this point. Sometimes I get more hesitant or more cautious when we start seeing just alts out of nowhere pumping. I don't know if you remember in the bull run, but when that happens, they start pumping, and then when they're done, what happens? Everything dumps, and it starts with Bitcoin. But Link is pumping right now. Link could really go off. That's a strong candle. We're 30 minutes in here, and it's not showing any signs that it wants to slow down. But I'm not going to jump in on this. Maybe some of you degens will. Sometimes it plays out in your favor, you know? Sometimes you try a 10x long here and then it just goes up to $8 or $9, right? Or maybe it strikes the 765 target. Link can move fast. We saw it here, okay? It can move fast in one direction. But that's big wave surfing. So be careful. Be careful. The fact that it did come back inside here and shoot straight through is probably, yeah, the degen in me wants to long this, but I'm not going to because I already have enough exposure. I have to limit my exposure right now. So, but it is fun to watch, isn't it? It's fun to watch these big candles as they start to form. Okay, Link will facilitate staking on December 6th. Thank you, Manu. Okay, that makes sense. So we could get a pump. When was that announced? I'm curious. Anybody know when that was announced? Was it just announced? Is XRP a millionaire maker? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say, I almost don't want to comment about XRP because there's an XRP army and they might come after me. But it's definitely an oscillator. It's definitely all over the place. And if it's just in general, if it's hard for me to read the chart with all of the knowledge that I have, if it's hard for me to read a chart and anticipate the next move, then I just don't bother with it because there's so many other, it's just like being in the ocean surfing. Like there's so many other waves out there to choose from. There's so many other breaks. Like if there's a certain break that I don't like, there's certain breaks as a surfer, I'm like, I'm not going to surf that because I don't want to get chopped up by the rocks. And there's friends that they're totally fine with it. They don't care. And they've been surfing their whole life, of course, but like they just don't care. I'm like, you know what? I care. I want to know how this wave is going to break. If I don't want to get on the wave. And so with XRP, maybe it will make you a millionaire. If you get in at the right time, I think a lot of these can make you a millionaire. You know, I mean, if you understand the basics, but it's not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed ever. And if I can't read the break, then I don't surf it. That's that. Oh, it was announced a week ago. Heard about it today. Whatever it is, I mean, it's got some It's got some push behind it, but this, this is obviously could be resistance. But a lot of times when it pushes into this level with this amount of strength, it's going to just break right through. But this, you got to look to the left. This is resistance, even a little bit up higher, could come up higher and deviate. But yeah, Link's been really strong. I would not fade this, that's for sure. Uh, Nier and Rune were requested. I don't really want to. I was trading Rune a while back, but I don't at this point at this stage in the game. I don't want to trade this unless I'm shorting it. I don't want to long this, and it's in the middle of this range here, so I wouldn't touch it here unless it gets back up to these extremes and we start to see some activity here. Uh, wow, look at that. Look at that push up there and then the rejection here. Very obvious short at this point. Trapped a lot of longs there, but Rune's not in a place where I would want to trade it right now. And I probably will skip out on this for the rest of the bear market. I did have spot Rune. I was a big fan of Rune in the bull run, and maybe it will still come back. I think it has a good shot at it. I don't know if it will ever reclaim its all-time highs. I remember buying Rune when it was like $10, and then it came all the way up to $21, and then it did this, and it's just, yeah, that's just the way it goes with the alts sometimes, a lot of the times. Where is Nier? What are you doing, Nier? Yeah, similar to Rune. I mean, really wanting to I'm not really wanting to trade this unless I was going to short it because we have to go with the impulsive move. So strong moves down and then a consolidation, corrective move. So maybe, yeah, and it's not really giving any indication either way which direction it wants to go. So I'm not going to trade this. What else we got here? Yeah, 100x. I mean, it could be. I think what happens is that a lot of times, I mean, a lot of people were saying that Rune was a 100x coin or a 1000x coin many months ago, or a year ago, year and a half ago. It's hard to believe, the passage of time. It goes so quickly. I love the concept. I love what they're building. I think that they need to make it more user friendly, or they just need to make it more, what's the word? I mean, it's fairly user friendly if you understand DeFi, but most people don't. We have to, like, this is what really shifted things for me, is that, like, even just explaining the basics of like setting up a wallet, even a Keystone wallet, is complicated for a lot of people because they don't understand the concepts, the basics. That's why I wrote Smart Money's Crypto Handbook. And so to get people to the level where they can really grasp something like THORChain, it's years away. But maybe when that happens, if and when that happens, then they can make it more accessible so that people can easily swap and store, and there's not like a gazillion wallets and everything, it's easily integrates. Then we're talking. But until that happens, it's like, it's very clunky to me. And I have used THORChain, and I've played around with their LP pools and all that, but I just, it's we're years away from mainstream adoption, and that's the reality. And so in the meantime, I want to see Rune's going to have to break. If we just zoom out, let's just zoom out on this. And this is just, I'm just giving this one example, but there's so many altcoins where you could apply the same principles that I'm sharing with you here. if we just zoom out and we look, what needs to happen really for Rune to start to give us a sign that there's some sort of a recovery? Well, first off, it needs to clear this level. It needs to clear $3. It needs to put in a higher high and a higher low, and it needs to start creeping back up again. Then I would maybe be interested in this. But it doesn't look like we're anywhere close to that right now. Okay? So, and there's definitely, if you see a chart and it does this, then, you know, a lot of the times, if you remember, a lot of altcoins that were around in 2018 in the bear market, and people thought 2017 they were just going to go, they were going to 100x or 1000x, and they did something like very similar to this, and then they did come back, but a lot of them didn't come back to previous levels. They did spike up, back up, but you have to understand that there's a lot of people that have been holding, that have been underwater for over a year now, that are just waiting for it to hit their break-even level so they can just sell and get out and be done with it. And they will wait. They will wait for that. So that's just something that you need to understand. Like, at this point in the game, the odds are stacked against Rune and many of the other altcoins that have done this sort of price action, because unless they can really pull off something magical with what they're building and really become the de facto, you know, decentralized swap mechanism, whatever you want to call it, then there's not a, you know, they need to overcome this momentum somehow, because the price will tell you a lot, you know, and there's only so many people that are going to stay loyal to a project like this if the price stays down for so long. So that's the reality. What is 𝐬𝐭? I've heard about it. Guys, now is not the time to be getting into these alts. Yeah. No. Now is not the time. Now is not the time. What do we need to happen? I mean, you could say, well, on a long enough timeline, oh, look, it broke the trend line. No, not really. It's not, that's not how you, that's not what you need to look at this stage in the market. At this point, you need to see, we need to see it break through this level here and start to put in, start to stair step back up again, if it's going to do that. But look at this one single candle. I mean, great. If you got in here, fantastic. You probably didn't get out here. You probably held it thinking that it was going to do another 330% rise. Okay. But didn't last long. That was 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, it did this. And then it took how many weeks to get back down? Many, many weeks just to get all the way back down. In 2 weeks, it did that. And then it took 252 days to get back down where it started here, okay? Actually, it was longer if you consider this level here. Was it worth it? I don't know. I mean, not for me. It's not my cup of tea. You know, it's high octane, that's for sure. If you can catch that wave at that right time, then you're golden. You know, here where I live, people like to surf Jaws. Jaws is like, you know, 40, 60 foot waves, sometimes bigger. And, you know, you get on that wave and you get that rush and it's amazing, right? But if you don't, you could be in trouble. And that's a chance you have to take. So if you know what you're doing, you can catch this wave and, you know, start to average out of it as it starts to increase. You know, obviously, if we drop down to the lower time frames, we can see what was happening with 𝐬𝐭. This is just training for the next bull run, right? Because most people are going to be absolutely clueless. They're going to come in and I'm going to basically turn off my, you know, probably going to have to lock my Twitter and, you know, just ignore all the comments because everyone's in all, and I'm not going to be able to pick up my phone. This is what happened in the last bull run because everybody's going to want to throw money at something and they're going to look at what just pumped like crazy. 𝐬𝐭. okay, when it broke this level, when it broke out of this range, you could have gotten in right here. You could have gotten in right here. And even if you hadn't gotten in here, it came all the way back down again to retest it. You could have gotten in somewhere in here, okay? And then you could have just held it. It actually came back a third time to retest it. But you see, notice it's finding support at previous resistance. This is basic TA. This is what we're doing when we make trades. And the more you trade on a 4H or 1H, whatever it is, its price is fractal. So the same patterns are repeating themselves. And if you're doing this on a daily basis to accumulate spot, you've just bought some 𝐬𝐭 at 0.009, okay? Actually, never mind. Okay, yeah, but even still, you could have rode this wave several times. Okay, you could have rode this wave several times. So you could have gotten in here. That's a 500% rise. You could have gotten in here. That's a 300% rise. Let's just say you caught even half that move. That would be significant. You could have gotten in here. Another 222%. You could have treated this whole area like a range here. And every time it found support down at this level. Well, this is an obvious level for support. And it wicked not quite into the level. So that's showing some relative strength. That was during 2021. So alts aren't always easy to understand, but if you see, like here, for instance, here we saw a classic ABC move. Here's a move up. Here's a consolidation. This is a bull flag or bullish rectangle, whatever you want to call it. And then the breakout. And then it actually did come back and retest here on the daily. You could have gotten in here. You could have gotten in here. And then you could have just held it all the way up because it repeated this pattern. It repeated it here. It repeated it here. And then at this point, well, how do you know to get out? Well, first of all, it just did a 500% move. But second, we see one wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, 5 waves, 6 waves, 7 waves. Okay, so it's pretty overextended at this point. It's not hard to see that. Okay, no alts for now. Sharp spikes, sell half for all, and move on. Yeah, basically. But, or if you get in something like Aptos, or I have a strong feeling that this one's going to do really well in the next bull run. I don't know why. I mean, I have an idea why, but I feel like, so these are the ones that are most interesting to me because we haven't seen them have that parabolic run yet. We haven't seen that yet. And I can't even see this chart because of that. Okay. We haven't seen the run up yet. We've only seen the move down. Started around 1026, but this has, I think it's about a $500 million market cap already. And there's a lot of VC backing behind this. So I do think that something like Aptos could do a 50 or 100x. And there are some other ones out there that I'm looking at right now, but I'm not looking to accumulate spot just yet. I want to wait and see how things unfold in the coming months. So where are we at? Bitcoin is still holding 16,200. Ethereum is holding 1172. Okay, so in profit on Bitcoin, not quite on Ethereum yet. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so I think that covers all the alts. I didn't expect to be going into alts today, but aside from, I mean, the micro cap alts, but we did a lot of alts today. And overall, you've got to look at the big picture. We've got, for me, leaning bearish, leaning towards more downside, but also expecting some vicious bear market rallies here. And this might be the beginning of one. You never know. If it breaks this line here, 16.5, with some force, then we might be in for a rally here. And it would not surprise me. I mean, expect the unexpected in this market and ignore the news, honestly. I mean, you can read it, you can kind of browse through it, see what they're saying, but it's not an indication of what the market is going to do. Sometimes yes, Sometimes if there's something, if Elon announces something that they're going to accept Doge for payments, yes, it's going to have an impact. But a lot of the FUD is already priced in. You know, BlockFi declared bankruptcy today. It didn't have much of an effect. You know, it's I prefer to read charts. I prefer to read charts than try to guess based on the news. And I think a lot of traders would probably agree with me on that one. We could see a lot more, you know, I think it's only a matter of time before we drop down below. It wasn't that, it was just a few days ago really that we saw new lows. So we saw new lows here, 15.6, and then we actually came back down. But again, this could be that SFP inside this range. So it may first want to come back up to 17. It may want to come up to 18. And then there's a whole lot of inefficiency in through here, okay, all the way up to 20K. So you never really know, but there's going to be strong resistance at this level here. And it looks, yeah, overall looks bearish. And I think it's only a matter of time before we're revisiting down here, these lows, but putting in new lows. 2018 open was 13,871. That's the next target that I'd be looking for. If it breaks down below 15.5 and we see continued weakness, definitely shorting the hell out of it down here. I still think it's going to 12K, maybe lower than 12K. I had between 10.5 and 12K as the range. But the accumulation zone for Bitcoin, anything between 10 and 15K, for me, that's what I'm considering for spot accumulation. And those zones I've posted in various places in various videos. So check that out if you haven't already seen that. And yeah, we will see. So I'm going to keep my eyes on the chart here. 12K in February. I don't know. I mean, it seems like we could start to see a push back up again in the spring, but it's impossible to say. So I don't want to speculate too much, but I just based on the price action, it does look like it wants to go lower. And I don't think there's many that are denying that at this point. Now, when you want to get concerned, because when I was first calling for this, when I was first talking about this, we were back up here at 40K. And a lot of people were like, no, there's absolutely no way. And then, but as it gets lower, then more people are like, yeah, definitely possible, right? More and more people. But then it gets to the point where everyone is on board with it and it doesn't happen, right? So if everyone is on board with 10K Bitcoin, it might not happen. It's just like everyone was on board with 100K Bitcoin and it definitely didn't happen. So that's something that like there needs to be like a crowd indicator, right? Like crowd sentiment. Crowd sentiment is getting worse and worse. When it bottoms out, that's when we know that we've seen the bottom, and I don't think that sentiment is as bad as it could be. In considering the events that have transpired in the last couple of weeks, Bitcoin's doing remarkable. I mean, it's really quite remarkable that it hasn't already tanked down to 12K. So if anything, that is a sign that maybe we're in the accumulation zone right now. If we're not in it now, I think we're close to it. But again, 5-10 years from now, is it really going to matter? I mean, it does matter. It does matter if you get Bitcoin for 12K or 16K. Everybody wants it at the rock bottom prices, but hardly anybody can actually time that. So I don't have any spot. I'm waiting to see what happens here. And we will see. I'm waiting. And I think, it's funny because a lot of people back when Bitcoin was 60K, they were like, man, if only I'd got in at 20K, here's your chance. here's your chance. And, it's below 20K. Do you want to buy it? Nope. I'm going to wait it out. You're going to wait it out, right? Till it's 20, 30, 40K again. Maybe. Maybe you'll wait till it's 60K again. Maybe you'll wait till it's 8. Most likely you'll wait till it's 80 or 100K. And these are the tourists. And these are the people, this is how I make my living. A part of it. It's not like I'm trying to take advantage of them directly. It's just that their stupidity allows, enables for these things to happen automatically. And it's just basic crowd psychology. Everyone at 60K wants it for 20K. Everyone at 16K wants it for 10K. It's a 10K and everyone's calling for 3K again. And nobody wants to buy it. Isn't that funny how that works? And at some point you've got to overcome the fear and go with the risk and let it, and trust. I think we're close to that. I personally, I think we're close to that. But for me, I'm a riskier sort of player. I'm not really in it for the long game. I mean, I am, but in a different way. So where a lot of people will just be throwing money at Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'll probably be throwing money at some of these alts that I think have a lot more potential, like Aptos, for instance. I'm just dropping that in there now. But I'm a riskier player. I'm more of an active trader, and I also am able to read charts better than most. So that's just my perspective, and it is vastly different than pretty much everyone out there, because everyone out there is like, you've got to own some Bitcoin. Well, how many people own Bitcoin right now? How many of the active traders own Bitcoin right now? Do I have to own it? If Bitcoin goes to 100K, what's Matic going to do? What's Ethereum going to do? What's Aptos going to do? And if I'm trading with the majority of my funds because I can actually maximize my profits that way, then do I really even need to hold these spot positions, or is that just a psychological thing so that you don't feel like you're missing out of whatever's happening? And at the end of the day, it's really just a big game, owning these things. It's like, what do you own? What do you actually own? You own a series of numbers and letters in a blockchain. And that's it. What does that mean? I mean, we give meaning to it. We give significance to it. And so it just depends on what your objective is. So, Bitcoin maximalism is pretty toxic, if you ask me. Any sort of maximalism is toxic. And that's, and that's part of the psychology. It's almost like it's by design, the hodl mentality by design. It's meant to take your money ultimately. And, you might have gotten in, like some of my friends, Bitcoin was like $100 or something like that. And they've got all kinds of Bitcoin. But even still, if you had been buying and selling it, you'd be better off right now than if you just hodled the whole time. You'd be a lot better off. You'd probably be 10 times as wealthy if you really knew what you were doing. But again, few understand this. And that's, it's going against the grain. Being a trader is going against the grain. But that's just how it is. Yeah, prediction of 12K might be the same as 100K, because now, I was calling for 12K before, and now many more people are calling for it. And it's like, well, maybe now it won't happen because there's enough people that have gotten on the bandwagon. And if smart money is not going to follow along with what the sheeple are doing. They can't. It's not possible, because if they do that, then everyone wins. And only a few people are meant to win this game. Okay? That's the way it's designed. So you've got to think differently. You have to think differently. That's just the whole game. Just think differently than everyone else. Right now, everyone wants to go short, so I'm long. Right now, everyone's going short, but there are subtle signs that it wants to push up if you're paying attention. And again, I'm giving you the subtle signs. So this is a subtle sign. Okay? Ethereum came into this zone here and found support. Big long wick, strong candle, high delta. Bitcoin, nice little fake out, pumped up, crushed down, SFP, came below, back inside demand zone. Now look what it's doing as we're talking here. Probably should have stayed in the full position here. Doesn't matter. Still will make some money. At the end of the day, it's all about bringing home the money, okay? Because let's face it, you've got to pay your bills. You've got to pay for your family to live. And if it's going to take for you to learn how to outsmart most other traders in order to do that, then you damn well better do it. And that's the way it goes. Because that's life. It's PvP, not always, but in this game, this is PvP. We're trading against each other. It's like being in the casino, okay? But in this case, you're using that hard-earned knowledge that you get by watching these streams and by taking different courses and by reading books and by studying charts, making it a passion, not just a hobby, because there's money on the line. And that's really what it comes down to, time and time again. And that's what keeps me coming back and showing up when I don't feel good, when I'd rather be doing anything else, when I'd rather be sleeping, getting up early in the morning because there's price movements. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to deal with it. I'm on Hawaii time. Like I'm like 5 or 6 hours behind the stock market. And it sucks sometimes because sometimes you miss moves. Sometimes you wait a week for a move and it just happens just like that. And you missed it and you got to wait for the next wave. But it's what makes it worth it. The prospect of doing really well, given that you have proper risk management and you apply sound trading principles. And so few people, this knowledge is incredibly valuable. These are skills that you can take with you for the rest of your life. And you can apply this not just to trading, but to investing. And that's what it baffles my mind. And I'm curious to see, because this is actually my first bear market as a influencer, right? This is the first time I've been actually putting out content during a bear market. I came in late in the last bull market as an influencer making videos. And now I'd be curious to see what happens. I feel like a whole lot of people are going to pour into this space, not having a clue. And the cycle repeats. Obviously, that's the way it goes. And they're willing to throw money at anything that's going up. And they don't care what the chart is doing. And they don't know about supply and demand. They don't know about support and resistance. Don't be one of those people. You're not one of those people. If you're watching this, most of those people are gone. They've already unsubscribed. They're on to the next best thing until crypto comes back around. And it's really quite annoying, but it's also very predictable. That's human nature. And so overcoming these lower tendencies and having that patience and having that faith, having conviction, crypto is important. It's a big part of the future. I'm not going to deny that. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they are a big part of the future, but it's also a game and it's going to be manipulated. And there's people at the top that have a whole lot of money that know how to move the markets. And you're either moving with them or you're moving against them. So that's my stream for today. Yeah, that's what I got for you today. I'm just kind of ranting for a bit there. And that's just my philosophy. And that's what carries me through. That's what carries me through these times when we're sitting at 16,200 and it's just sort of like, are you going to do anything? What are you going to do? Are you going to go up? You're going to crash back down again? From a technical perspective, Bitcoin is finding support here. It's probably going to push up. That's what I think. And I'm placing my money behind it, okay? I'm not just one of those chart technicians. There's a difference between a trader and a chart technician. A chart technician can read a chart and not really know how to do anything with it. But a trader is like, okay, I really better know this because if I'm wrong, I lose money. Every time I'm wrong, I lose some money. Every time I'm right, I make some money. So it's in my best interest to be right. And so far, this bear market, I've been right a majority of the time. And that's how you want to be as a trader. You want to be right a majority of the time. Sometimes I'm completely wrong. And I'm willing to admit that, cut the trades, take the losses. But you need to be right. Not all the time, but enough. The odds need to be in your favor, one way or another. So continue showing up, doing the work, join my Discord, sign up from XC. It's that simple. I'm making it that simple right now. I'm gonna close it all. I'm gonna close it off or make it like, I don't know, maybe I'll make it insanely expensive or something in the bull market, just because I don't want to deal with tourists. You know, we have to deal with enough of them already here where I live. So that's how it is. Yeah, of course, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to share, and I'll continue to do these live streams. It's actually easier for me than having to shoot a video and then edit it and then hope that it gets out in time for it to still be relevant. So I might just continue with live streams. They're not getting as many views, but I don't really care, and that's fine. You know, it's no problem for me. I'm still committed. So I hope that you all enjoyed this stream and have a beautiful rest of your day. Yes, thank you. I appreciate your support, all of you that have been really showing up and liking the video. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Have a great day.